Well, thank you, Matt. And I'm pleased to be here this afternoon to talk to a group of folks who have a keen interest in local government. And you are actually taking part in one of the more relevant workshops, I would say, in today's sort of consternation going on in local government. Development charges are right up there with a lot of other issues. So I would like to speak with you for a little while just to tell you about my experiences from the standpoint of growing yourself in a local government sector. If you think of it, how many realize that you're no longer bean counters? Finance has come a long way, and you are among the most dynamic and broad-minded people that have to be working in local government today. Local government really needs finance people with a broad background. So you're no longer a backroom operation. You have to be out front. And that's because of having so many issues. And you know about them, but there's such things as development charges. There's such things as the fact that your infrastructure is leaking. The fact that, yes, there's some requirements now around asset management, but can you get there? And there's a lot of issues like that that are all connected to municipal finance. And so your relationships are changing because you're no longer in that back room. You have relationships with all of your departments in your municipality. You now have more ongoing relationships with the elected council in your municipality. You have more relationships with the public. And of course, that means more relationships along the way with the senior levels of government who you depend on from time to time for a little bit of support. And so you get rid of your bean counter title, and you have to be now well-rounded, knowledgeable, broad-minded, and be an understanding financial expert in your municipality. So how do you get there? Well, first of all, you have to think corporately. You have to have that vision that I'm not just looking after the numbers on behalf of the organization, but I have to understand the organization to look after the numbers well, okay? And so how do you get there? Well, you have to, first of all, build on your skills. And obviously you're doing that today because you're here in this development charges workshop. Because what you're intending to do, I believe, if you're making this your career choice, is you want to broaden your knowledge and you want to create opportunities by building your skills, and you want to, I think, improve your self-esteem, for example, because you want to be more confident in what you're doing as a finance professional. And you'll end up becoming more valuable as an employee for your organization, but you yourself will become more valued in the overall municipal sector if you think you'd like to make a change in your employment. So training is key in building your skills. And it's not only this type of training. It can be academic training where you're actually taking a course somewhere, or it can be just people skills that you gain on the job. And the other thing is, if you get into formal education, it leads to a whole lot of other things. For example, I went back to school as a part-time student, and I did obtain a master in public administration after I'd been in the workforce for quite a few years. And that not only helped me with building my skills, but it also opened up another lot, quite a few more avenues for me, as far as being a better leader, in being able to see the value of network, because when I was going to Western part-time for 3 years, I was mixing with other full-time employees from other municipalities, and I was mixing with regular students in the MPA program. So it was a great opportunity from the standpoint of networking. When you look at building your skills, another thing you can do is get involved in your own municipality with projects. You know, if you see an opportunity to lend a hand to some sort of a project, say it's an organizational review, well, you know, put up your hand and say, yes, I'd like to volunteer for that, because I think I'm going to be able to understand this organization better if I'm an integral part of change. Also, you can take on work secondments. If an opportunity arises, Matt and I were just discussing the fact that they have maternity leaves with the organization, and it creates opportunities for someone in another job within the finance to pick up the slack while that mat leave is there and learn that skill in that particular job. Another way of building your skills is through report writing. And again, if you get a chance to write reports in your organization, it allows you to find out exactly how to do a report that has meaningful results for an elected member of office. And finally, you can do something like I'm doing today, end up with speaking engagements and engaging with politicians or with the public or with your fellow staff in your own organization. And all of these are going to build your skills and make you into a better overall person, so that although finance is prime, it allows you to broaden out your whole scope on your capabilities in the future. And so what you're also trying to do in building these skills is being a better leader. And I think through leadership leads to promotion. It leads to improved working relationship. If you can understand your fellow employee, or if you can understand a member of the public, or if you can understand a politician.
Don't get carried away.
Don't get carried away. I won't get carried away. So if you have a chance to make a positive change or be part of a positive change, it allows you to be a better leader in the end. And you do that by seeking out opportunities. For example, I didn't know that I was a good negotiator until all of a sudden with the city of Cambridge, where I was deputy treasurer, they wanted somebody from finance to sit on their labor negotiating team. So my treasurer at the time said, Jim, would you like to take a chance on this opportunity? And I thought, well, gee, I guess it's probably a good thing to do, because I'm going to understand what makes unions tick a lot better. And I'm going to, create a new skill for myself in how to negotiate labor contracts. So I did that. So then by the time I got to Milton, where I was the director of corporate services, I ended up being the chair of the municipality's negotiating committee with three different unions over a period of 21 years. And that was a great skill that I acquired, and it really allowed me to understand people in the organization better on top of that. Then moving on, why does networking work? Well, I would think by the end of today, besides Gary's presentation about development charges, you will know something else about local government and local government finance today that you didn't know this morning, other than the development charge related. Because you're meeting with people and you're discussing the local government scene as you carry on throughout the workshop. But networking, it's intended to create work opportunities. Again, I'll give you an example. one reason I became the treasurer in the municipality of Milton was the fact that the CAO at the time and I ended up having a strong relationship outside of AMCTO. So that CAO, when I came to interview time, he had a lot more confidence in me than some of the other candidates, and passed that along to the politicians who were also part of the recruitment team. But again, it helped me in landing a pretty nice job with the Town of Milton, which I stayed for 21 years. Although, if you looked at my resume, you're going to wonder, this guy couldn't keep a job until he got to Milton. In any event, networking is so important. You get to understand yourself better, and you get to understand others better. I think you become more politically astute, although I think you always should be true to yourself and not take the political route to get a decision made. Well, besides, one other thing that's good about networking, it gets you out of the office once in a while. Everybody could handle that, I think, right? So how do you do networking? Well, you can join an association. How many are members of MFOA? A lot of people are. And MFOA has been in place for quite a while now. I got grounded with MFOA through the former London Finance Conference, which was the forerunner of MFOA. And so I worked with a lot of the treasurers as I was going through my employment in the local government sector. Another way of networking is volunteering in your community. If you want to sort of broaden out your horizons about the community you're in, and a lot of people don't live and work in the same place. How many people actually work where they or live and work in the same place? About half, okay. But the thing of it is, if you don't work in the municipality, or if you don't live in the municipality you work in, it sometimes becomes a bit of a barrier for you. So take the opportunity to try and volunteer. I know in my case, I ended up working with the Milton United Way for a long time. I ended up not working with, but at least attending Chamber of Commerce meetings because Milton was a member of the Chamber of Commerce, so I tried to get out as much as I could. And also I ended up joining a local community choir in Milton, and that's 15 years ago, and I'm still singing. They haven't turned me down yet, so that worked out well. But it does, again, you get a better feel for the community if you take part in some of the local activities that are going on in the community. I think with networking, it's also important to understand and know your politicians that you're working for. So don't be afraid to grab a quick lunch with one or two of them, or meet them during your workday for a particular discussion on something that's going on that's recent and current, and they want your advice, or maybe you want their opinion on something that you're doing. Politicians are your friend. They're there. They have their reasons for being there, and you have yours. So you have to understand and know them, and so make sure that you do network with your elected people. There's also volunteering with your own municipality. I mean, every municipality has a health and safety committee. A lot of municipalities have social committees. And so, if you have a chance, get involved in actually just pure volunteering for the municipality itself. And finally, in networking, attending conferences does pay benefits. Again, it's a break from the office. It is a break from the humdrum of your daily work, and it provides good opportunities for you to broaden your horizons about municipal finance and about municipal government in general. And that leads us to the fact you're pulling all this together. Don't forget about yourself. So create your own succession plan. And how do you do that? Well, one thing, it's okay to change employers. If you feel that you've gone as far as you can go with your employer, maybe it's time to go looking for another job in a different setting, where you may be able to broaden out what you've acquired already and acquire new skills along the way. So don't be afraid to change employers. Keep track of your accomplishments. How many people here today were actually going to go home and actually record in a journal the fact that they'd taken this workshop today, and here's what what they learned today? No one was going to do that. So I would suggest maybe you start keeping a journal of your accomplishments, because sometimes they will come in handy. When would they come in handy? Say you're going to look for another job. Well, let me see, what have I done? Well, I've got it right here in the journal. I know what I've accomplished. So document anything you feel worthy of documentation. I know that you all have performance appraisals, and they're done annually. And that's a time where you actually do record things like this. But there are other things that you do throughout the year that are your personal accomplishments. And so record those, so that when you have a chance to boast, and when you're looking for another job, you have something that's there and it's readily available for you to refresh your mind. I think you have to be selective about training. You have to think about, well, where do I want to go and how do I want to get there? Now, there's two types of training, right? There's actual technical training that you're doing today, and then there's sort of soft training that helps you with your people skills. So you're going to have to decide, where do I need to strengthen myself? And then, as part of your personal plan, try to work towards strengthening those areas where you feel you're weakest. Okay. And finally, you try to bring all this together, building your skills, trying to improve yourself as being a leader, do the appropriate networking, make that personal plan, and then try to carry out any change you think you need to make as far as your skills and your development in the municipal sector. I think you really have chosen a good area. When you think of municipalities as an employer, they are one of the better employers in the country. I do believe you have some permanency if you want to be permanent with your employer. You have a great chance to improve your skills through training and development. And you have the type of work that is never the same from one day to the next, no matter what your role is with the community. It's always changing. And you have an opportunity, I think, as municipal leaders to make change happen. You may not feel that some way when you've worked hard on a report that goes to council and gets turned down. But at least you've opened the eyes and the ears of municipal politicians and maybe the public on a subject that gets them thinking a little differently. And maybe then you can go back in a little while with another report and make that change happen. And in the end, look after yourself. There's more to life than municipal finance. And so make sure that you do the right things that will both be healthy for you, both physically and mentally. You got to look after yourself. And also, part of that looking after yourself is looking after your friends and your family. Don't forget about them along the way. As you move through local government, remember that you have choices. As I said before, if you think you need to change your employment, change your employment. If you think you want to change your career, you want to go outside municipal government, take a good shot at it. There's all kinds of opportunities out there. But in any case, I just want to reinforce the fact that you have chosen well, in my estimation, and all the best with your career, and all the best with the rest of the development charges workshop this afternoon. Gary asked me if I wanted to take up and do part of it, but I said no. So thank you.